Hi everyone, today we're going to look into the glycolysis stage, which is both present in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. But before we do that, we're going to look into the concept of what hydrogen carriers are, since hydrogen carriers are extensively involved in the glycolysis stage, as well as other stages of both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So hydrogen carriers, as you can probably infer from the name, they are just essentially molecules that carry hydrogen. And in the case of glycolysis and in cases of respiration, mainly two molecules, hydrogen carriers, are involved. And this is NAD plus and FAD. These are the two main hydrogen carrier molecules that are involved in respiration. And where they are, they're usually in cytoplasm or the mitochondria of cells. Now, these hydrogen carriers are very important because these hydrogen carriers can undergo the process of reduction in order to form reduced hydrogen carriers, which can, in the stage of oxidative phosphorylation, be converted into ATP. But that we will be exploring further later on. But to kind of give you a glimpse of how that actually happens, how the reduction process of these hydrogen carriers happen, I'm going to write down the equation. And this is how reduction is going to happen, and the end product of this reaction is we're going to have these reduced hydrogen carriers, which are essentially these molecules right here. Now, these reduced hydrogen carriers are then formed throughout the entire respiration process, and later, as I mentioned, in the oxidative phosphorylation stage, they're going to be converted into ATP via electron transport chains, but again, that's a lesson for another video. So, to dive into the stage of glycolysis. Now, glycolysis, I probably covered this in some of my other videos. They are present in both the anaerobic and the aerobic respiration processes, and they both consist the first step of both of these respiration methods. And what essentially happens in the glycolysis stage is this occurs in the cytoplasm, and this is essentially the breakdown of glucose molecules. And as you may know, if you've looked into the formula of glucose, glucose is a hexose sugar. It's a hexose sugar. And it's the breakdown of these glucose molecules into two molecules of pyruvate. Now, pyruvate, as you may think, it may seem like it's half of a glucose molecule, but actually when you look at the chemical formula, it's not. However, one thing to note is that because glucose is a hexose molecule, meaning that it has six carbons, a pyruvate molecule will have 3 carbons. And in this process, what will happen is 2 molecules of ATP and 2 molecules of NADH and hydrogen ion are going to be produced, and this is again a reduced hydrogen carrier. We'll go into the deep metrics of glycolysis in another video, but for now, do note that there are 2 main hydrogen carriers that are produced in the process of respiration, and specifically in the process of glycolysis, we are going to have our NADH reduced hydrogen carrier.